Welcome to the leather journey and Whoops in the Dungeon. I'm going to probably edit this video and have a segment on both Whoops in the Dungeon and the leather journey channel. As many of you know, in leather, there's a lot of emphasis on impact play. One of the toys that I've carried for the last decade and a half in my toy bag, that's always in my toy bag, is a Galley whip by Maker. Okay, Maker's in South Carolina, and he made this, I think I bought it about 2008 at Southeast Leather Fest. Wonderful, wonderful Galley whip. I don't know if you can see it because I've used it so much. The leather's gotten a nice patina, and it's not as bright and distinguishable as when it was new. But if you look carefully, you'll see, he put a wrist loop on it or a hanging strap, Turk's head, really nice diamond plaiting here, and then he went into whipmaker's plaiting, straight as an arrow all the way down to the pineapple knot, and it ends with the kangaroo tails. And this is a 16 plait work, so you end with 32 or so tails. Axel makes a Galley that's 8 plait. That's a nice little whip, but I don't consider it as nice as what Maker's making with his 16 plait model. Well, I had thrown this every whip scene for like the past 2 decades. So you could hear the sound of that. So when I started my two-handed whip journey, I needed a second Galley whip. But I didn't want to spend the money for a match set. There's a lot of things I bought match sets for. But with the Galley whip, I thought, well, if I get close enough and just have a sister whip, then I can throw two-handed, okay, and do two-hand Galley whips without spending the money to have a match set. So I sent Maker all the specs, the length, the type of plaiting, the weight. I took pictures of this whip, and I said, can you make a sister whip? Well, Maker, being the great leather worker that he is, and the great whip maker, said, of course I can make you a sister whip. And this is what he came up with. So I'm going to show you very closely. This whip has a thicker bore, what I call a thicker bore or gauge than the original. So the shot load's heavier in this whip. They're exactly the same total length, okay? So when I'm throwing them two-hand or even 6 count Florentine, the length is identical. So from that perspective, they're sister whips. One weighs a little less than the other one. So that's going to provide a variation in sensation. If you listen to the older one going through the air, you can hear that tonal off the tails. If you listen to the new one, it's got a heavier shot bag, and the tails were cut twice as thick. So they're twice as wide. They're going to catch more air. It's going to be thuddier. The lighter one has the potential to be stingier if it's thrown hard, but it has a lighter shot load. So you're going to really have to wing it if you want it to be stingy. But this new one has a heavier shot load and wider tails, and it's just luscious. So the plaiting pattern's a little different. He did about 4 rows of single diamond plaiting, and then did some fancy plaiting work in the upper part of the thong, and then finished it with whipmaker's plait. It's just a sweet whip. I did a workshop at Arizona Power Exchange, and I passed this leather around, and out of 53 people that touched this leather, there wasn't a single person that wasn't in love with it. So I'll put a link to Maker below and give you information. If you're interested in a Galley whip from him, then you can certainly write and inquire. As always, thanks for watching. Whips